6.5 WDBO. And when you get in your car, listen to 96.5 FM. And make sure to get you to work on time with Triple T traffic and help you get around the changes from the I-4 Ultimate Project.
Now, our Ask the Experts weekend continues on News 96.5 WDBO.
This show is not a medical opinion and does not consent to doctor-patient relationship.
Happy Sunday, Central Florida. Welcome into another edition of Stages of Life right here on News 96.5 WDBO as we roll right along on our Ask the Experts weekend, this Father's Day edition of the Ask the Experts weekend. And if you have a question for Dr. David Klein, our number to call right now is open at 844-220-0965, 844-220-0965. Maybe you feel a little pain in your elbow these days, something going on there, or, you just got a weird new pain in your foot when you take a few steps, any of those weird lingering things that you've always thought, man, I wish I had somebody I could just call up and ask about this. Well, that's your guy right here, Dr. David Klein at 844-220-0965, 844-220-0965. My name is Chris Crawford. Here he is with me right now, Dr. David Klein. Doc, how are you doing today?
I am feeling very, very well. No complaints. It's a beautiful day here in the neighborhood, to coin a phrase.
It's hot.
Yeah, and so, but it couldn't be any better. Nice Father's Day. The only problem is this seems to happen every year. Is these strangers come to my door claiming to be my kids, so I kind of have to chase them off with a broom. Once a year, it's a problem. So short of that, I
don't have that problem yet,
hang around. All right. So, short of that, what I wanted to talk about is going to be just a short meandering ramble. Okay. And the ramble is going to go something like this. It's going to be what's the difference, okay, between price and value? And I've gone over this before, and, people tend to hear it and they really don't think so. If you're used to, buying junk out of China, then everything's all about price. If you're looking at what is your time worth, what's the value, then you start to think differently. So my wife, Tess, is at home right now hanging pictures. And so she bought these picture hooks at one of the big box, these hardware stores. Cheap. She's used to buying professional grade picture hooks, and there are professional grade. They're made out of appropriate steel, good nails. So she's up there, it's taking her 2 or 3 times as long as it need to hang 8 prints because the nails don't properly go into the wall. It's wood, it's not cinder block. This is not that difficult. So what is your time worth? Was it worth the $2 savings on those hooks to spend an extra 2 hours hanging something up and having to do it and redo it and whatnot? The answer is, of course, it's not worth it.
And not worth that,
then the
Doc,
second,
but the frustration.
there's a $0 value on somebody else's frustration. On your frustration, there's a lot. So value is something that you need to look at. And it's not just a matter of something being a nickel or a dollar or $10 cheaper. There's more to it than that. Now we're going to talk about the application. So returning to work. Now, how can return to work? Necessarily? I think we got somebody buzzing through. Is that it's not my phone? Okay, Chris, I think it might be your phone. So returning to work. So somebody is returning to work. How can value and price necessarily enter into this? And this is what I have been doing full time since Friday of last week. Every day, every night, every morning, every evening is getting people back to work. And it gets back to the very, very same relationship, price and value. So last week, we'd received a call, from a nursing home. Now, it was kind of a problem for them because they ended up with a hot patient. Somebody came in with COVID, and they have to test everybody in the nursing home, all the staff, all 200 of the people living there, the residents, and 80 staff. And so what's that going to cost them? Okay, well, to the residents, we just send that to Medicare. It's not a big deal, but the staff, they have to pay for it. So, we need to get a bargain on this. And I said, okay, fine. Now we can go ahead and call the state, and they'll come in and they'll sweep your place. Actually, they won't. They say they will, but they don't. But they'll make you wait 2 or 3 weeks. They won't tell you when they're coming in, and it takes another 2 weeks to get the reports. But you have to keep sweeping it weekly until they're all negative. So what's this really going to cost you? And the answer is your business. It's going to fail quickly. You'll be out of business in about 8 weeks. Or we can come in, test everybody, get you the results in 24 hours. We actually did it faster because we wanted to prove that we could. But they're in Cape Coral, so it actually took 6 hours to drive the samples over. So it was a little closer to 18 hours in total. So the savings to these individuals is about $1.5 million a month. So it's a very, very substantial and very easy equation to draw together. The second one was an employer, it was a car dealership. And so they wanted, well, we need to return to work safely. And so what's it going to do? What's it going to cost us? And we said, well, okay, we'll do it for $1 over Medicare. Okay, $1 over Medicare, not a problem. Then you pay for the kits, you pay for the nurse's time, whatever. But $1 over Medicare, well, that's too expensive. We can get it cheaper. So knock yourself out. Somebody tested positive, was going to shut the dealership down. So they called us up and said, well, we need it done tonight. We need this, we need that. And I said, well, are you still trying to negotiate that price against what the Medicare, or do you want to go to the hospital where they're going to charge you 5 times the Medicare rate? What do you want to do? Now, I'll give you a half an hour to figure it out because then I'm going home. You know what I mean? So we'll charge you the $102 plus the shipping and the stuff that goes with it, or you can pay them $400 to $500 for everybody. And you're still going to have to wait a week because that's how long it takes for them to result it. What do you want to do? So they went ahead and said, well, we'll meet you at the office. And fine. And that's what we did on Friday. We did a full dealership on Friday, my day off. Okay, great day off. Saturday, okay, it happened all over again. And then, but this was a more interesting one. Okay, so I get a call from somebody who's having a hard time getting a group of people tested. It's a group of 100 people, roughly. It's not that big a deal. We could do that in about 3 hours with one technician. If I had 2 technicians, we would do it maybe a little bit less. But it had to do with the Screen Actors Guild. Now, I've never had to deal with the SAG before. Okay, it's not a notoriously easy group to deal with. Screen Actors Guild. It's kind of like the worst of the.
I don't think that's a group that people normally.
No, but it's not one that I try. I try to avoid people that are on screen for a living because they tend to be a little narcissistic. They tend to be a little They tend to be hard to get along with. Really very selfish bunch. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So there we are. So they're calling me up and they've got these 100 people that they need to do, and they're trying to do it on a budget. Everything other than salary of the actors is on a budget. So I said, well, here's how we do it. It's $1 more than Medicare. It's $102 for the testing. There's shipping. There's all this, supplies and whatnot, and we can get it done in about 24 to 48 hours. He said, well, can't you do it cheaper? And I said, no, not really. I said, now, if you want to get it done cheaper, you can go to the state, and they'll go ahead and they'll do it for you, but they're going to tie you up for 2 weeks. I said, is that a problem for you? He goes, well, yeah. This whole process is going to take six weeks to do, and they make them do it. Screen Actors Guild makes them test every week or 2 for the entire process, which fundamentally says you're out of business. So I said, okay, here's how you do it. All right, and so then all of a sudden people started to realize that there's a very, very direct relationship between the 3 things in retail that we all learned so much, which is that you can have you can have 2 of the following 3: price, quality, or convenience. All right, you take your pick. You get 2. You never get 3. You can't get all 3. It's physically impossible. So here's how you do it. If you want to play price, because quality remains the same. Nobody's going to go out there and give you a bad test because that's the fast way to find up sideways with the feds. So it's going to be, you're going to negotiate price or convenience. So the convenience is, do you want to go out of business? Okay, do you want to go out of business? So every day that your business is turned off can turn into a substantial amount of money. So look at the hospitals. It's a brilliant bunch of business people, right? So they're trying to bring all their people back in, but they don't have the capacity actually to do testing on their own employees. So if you read the news from a few weeks back, one of the local hospitals, the real big one with all the fancy buildings and the glass and all the other kind of stuff down there, 25,000 bad tests, right? So they're trying to decide, that's $5 million worth of testing, right? Okay, so they're trying to figure out how to make this work. Now, these are the same people I tried calling on the phone saying, hey, guess what? Right here in town, we can do this for you. So they went with a group in Texas and got it all sideways. So they can't even test their own people. So where are we right now? Okay, we are in an environment, okay, where we have to get back to work because people like me who have been working full-time since January are getting really, really tired of paying people to stay at home. It's not going to happen. You go to work, you earn money, you get paid. You get paid, you buy your food, and that's done. This is not Marxist, from each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. Just because you want to stay at home doesn't mean I'm going to pay for it. So to get you back to work, what is it going to take? Okay, and that is the beauty in this. Well, I can get all of my employees for free down at the Orange County Convention Center. Good luck. Okay, these people are still waiting weeks later to get a report. It doesn't do anybody any good, especially if you plan to have a job when you get back. So let's say that you have a small restaurant. Okay, well, this is kind of a big deal because there's one out in New Smyrna Beach where the guys in the moon suits are out there decontaminating it. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's actually kind of cool. Yeah, it's got, so in any event, so somebody in the kitchen came down with COVID. Now, do you remember weeks ago, like in January, where I was talking about, hey, this thing is going to be a gastrointestinal bug. That's how it's transmitted?
Yes.
I got laughed off of Fox News. So in any event, I've been laughed off of worse, I got to tell you. Bigger and better. I've been laughed off of plenty. So in any event, so they're out there figuring out, what are we going to do? Because there's a huge liability here, having somebody in a kitchen with COVID feeding a bunch of people, and this is an enteric virus. So there we are. What's it going to take to get back to work? And what it's going to take is it's going to take sweeps of employees done on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And you have to have rapid turnaround of these tests or it is not going to work. Nobody is going to pay for this on the insurance side. Well, I pay my health insurance. Shouldn't I get that? No, they don't. No, Blue Cross doesn't cover it. United doesn't cover it. Cigna doesn't cover it. None of them cover it. So if the employer doesn't, it's up to you. And that is a sad fact. So the employers, if they want people to go back, they're going to end up having to foot the bill for this, which eventually is going to be passed along to the consumer. But somebody else is going to pay for it other than me, because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be doing this testing, paying for the reagents and the people, and then get a gift certificate for restaurant. Not going to happen. So in any event, what are we looking at? What we're looking at here is the trade-off between price and value. If you want something done right, you pay an expert. If you want something done jackleg, you get yourself an intern. Okay? If you want it really, really jackleg, you get your kid to do it, or the neighbor's kid. But if you want something done right, you do it. Getting back to the Screen Actors Guild, they were talking to me about, can't somebody else X, Y, and Z? I said, look, every time I try to make a movie, it looks like crud. But when I do medicine, it works out pretty well. So why don't you stick to your movies? Let me do the medicine. I'll tell you what you need to do, and everybody's going to be happy. So that's pretty much where we are. So the difference between value, value and price. You want it done cheaply, or you want it done to save you money. Because one way or the other, you're going to pay for something. But on the other hand, you're going to find yourself paying more by going cheap. And that happens every time with just about everything out there. So that was what I had.
And you're spending 2.5 hours putting hooks up to try and put pictures up.
Well, yeah. Well, and so Tess knows. I mean, that's the beauty in this. And she knows.
Did she plan the beginning of the show today? Did she sit down and say, I know how you're going to open today?
No. She did ask me, what am I going to talk about? And I said, well, I'm going to talk about the difference between quality and price. I didn't say I was going to be bringing her up in this. So I expect to be beaten when I get home. She typically listens.
Yeah, a good analogy nonetheless, though.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate that stuff, Doc. And we do have callers on the line here, and we're going to get to you in just a moment. 844-220-0965. That is the number. We are live on the air on this Sunday, 844-220-0965. And now this is the first Sunday that we do not have our 21232 text line. So if you are somebody who doesn't necessarily like to call in, you can always leave us an open mic using the open mic feature in the app. You just go to the app, click the open mic, leave us a brief message describing what your question is for the doc, and we'll play it live on air. But if you want to call in, that's the easiest way to do things here. 844-220-0965. We're going to hit you with the 3 big things you need to know, and then more of your calls and doc on the way on News 96.5 WDBO.
Now,
All right, you ready to answer some questions?
Sure, what do we got?
We got some questions. Hey, is it pronounced delay? We're still wondering this. What do you do for, doctor? What do you do for yeast overgrowth and Charlie horses?
Well, where's the yeast overgrowth? And
I was kinda wondering
it's kind of
that
an
one,
interesting
too.
thing. If we're talking about it in the mouth, usually use something called magic mouthwash, which is a nice statin wash. You gargle with it and it takes care of it. If it's vaginal, which may be the question here, then I'll use an antifungal cream. Sometimes I'll use diflucan capsules, okay, which are very inexpensive. None of these are expensive things, but what caused it to begin with needs to be dealt with. And it's almost always dietary. And you're going to go, well, gee, what could I eat to cause a yeast infection? It must be something that has yeast in it, like beer. And the answer is no. It's actually that which has sugar in it. Really? If you cut sugar out of your diet, these yeast infections become very, very rare. So if you're out there putting a lot of carbs in your diet, okay, things like fructose, things like rice, potatoes, and whatnot, the incidence of yeast infections really, really goes up.
Really?
You got it. Yeast goes ahead and it consumes lots and lots of sugar. So wouldn't you know it, if it's sitting around in your serum, in your bloodstream, it feeds the stuff and it tends to grow where the sun doesn't shine. What else we got up there?
Let's see here. Well, she did ask about Charlie horses.
Oh, Charlie horses,
Well.
piece of cake. Okay, different problem. Now, if she's from Florida, and I'll expect that she may well be, okay, well, people tend to get dehydrated here. You would think, okay, that as desert animals that we are, okay, that you'd learn how to drink lots of water. I've got a big bottle in front of me. Lots and lots of water. Well, why is that important? Because as you breathe, you're kicking out about 100 ml, okay, of water per hour, just in your breath. But in the heat, you may kick out another 50 to 80 or 100. Okay, if you're outside, you can double that. And so you may be knocking out 200 to 300 ml. That's a half a pint of water or more per hour. As you start to pee, now that's another 60 to 100 ml. It's taking out with it potassium and something called magnesium. And it's a magnesium deficiency that typically causes Charlie horses. Now, when I was growing up, when I was a youngster in medical school, they used to say, well, it's usually a potassium issue. But it isn't. It's magnesium. We never used to really check for magnesium levels, wouldn't you know it? We were all that smart back in the 80s. So no, it's a magnesium deficiency that causes it. And typically what I have people do is treat the underlying issue, which is dehydration and magnesium deficiency. The magnesium that you're looking for is called magnesium glycinate or magnesium taurate malate, one of those three. If it says magnesium chloride or carbonate or oxides, it's garbage. You do not want to be messing with it. Magnesium citrate will make you poop. So it's got to be magnesium glycinate. That's the most common and least expensive one. Magnesium taurate is helpful if you have fibromyalgia. And magnesium malate. There's malate, taurate, and glycinate. So in any event, take your pick. The one that we have at the office, it's called chelated magnesium. It's got all three. So that's the third. And the reason is you don't always know what the best one is for you. And I certainly don't necessarily know. So I hedge my bets. So that's the one that I use. That's what I recommend. What else we got up there?
Let's see. Why are you getting rid of texting?
No, I didn't get rid of texting. Apparently it broke. So, at the radio station, I'm looking at the software here, so it still exists.
Well, this is the phone system, right?
Yeah, no, that's the text system that you're looking at right there. So there's somebody that managed to get through, okay, but apparently the system is down.
No, that's the phone.
Is that the phone?
That's the phone.
Oh, that's the phone line?
I didn't bring the text
Oh, you
line
didn't
up.
bring the text on?
No, because they said it wasn't working.
Yeah. So everything. The thing is with technical stuff is it breaks. Okay, now I'm having a problem. Okay, I had Tesla come in to put a photovoltaic roof in. I thought I was buying quality. I thought it was quality.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Okay, they are the worst in terms of customer service I've ever experienced. So we've been trying to reach these people for 2 weeks on the telephone to get somebody out to repair it, and they don't return your telephone calls, emails. They don't return anything. And so this is not the first time I've had issues with their service people. So, I was thinking, wow, wouldn't it be cool to have a Tesla car? And the answer is, I couldn't imagine having any more frustration with a car than having a company that does not call their customers back when they're having problems. And really kind of interesting. So if you're out there looking at getting a photovoltaic roof, one of these solar roofs, there are lots of good companies out there, but I would not recommend Tesla with my experience with them. Yeah, I mean, until they come in and actually do something that looks like service and customer service, I would really be disinclined to recommend them at all, actually. So.
Hey, welcome back to Stages of Life here on News 96.5 WDBO. Our number here to call in, 844-220-0965. We got plenty of open lines for you here, so go ahead, give us a call right now, 844-220-0965, 844-220-0965, or you can hit us up on our Open Mic app. Again, just download the News 96.5 app, click on the Open Mic feature, and go ahead and give us your question there. In the meantime, let's head to those phone lines. We've got Jane calling in from Orlando. Jane, welcome onto the show. What is your question for Dr. David Klein?
Hi there. I'm calling regarding my mom, who's
Sure.
85 years old, and she's very unique in the sense she's on no medication.
Okay.
She has no walker, nothing like that. She has no heart, any kind of medical condition like that, but one. And what it is controlling of her gas.
Okay.
And it really affects her quality of life. And her doctor they've done tons of blood work, colonoscopy, cannot find anything. So they have recently put her, and I might not be pronouncing this right, FODMAP, FODMAP diet, where it's basically, it looks like taking most of the sugar out.
Okay.
And it's working.
Okay.
But she's already little, and she's lost about 4 pounds in less than a week.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
and so that's making her very weak.
Here's the real issue. Okay, is that most of the gas that people develop is swallowed. It's called aerophagia. So it's not like she's kicking out carbon dioxide because it's fermenting in her gut. Very, very unusual. Okay, it does not seem to happen very often. But most of the gas that's in your stomach at any particular time, straight on through, is swallowed. And it's a nervous condition. So generally speaking, when I have somebody that comes in with these sorts of issues, I do two things. One, I've tried to figure out why somebody is nervous enough to be swallowing lots and lots of air. Are they eating their food out of a straw? So in other words, like when you're sucking down a smoothie, it's going through a straw. You're going to pull down all kinds of gas. It ends up in your stomach. It presents a problem. So first thing is you want to give her something called simethicone, Gas-X, okay? And what does it do? It's a surfactant. It hits the stomach. It coalesces the bubbles in there so she can burp it out. So if you can get her to belch a little bit, which is a whole lot more pleasant than the alternative, I would imagine, then she should do better. But you need to figure out what is she nervous about. Okay, and that's going to be the major issue. With regards to cutting back in sugar, that's not a bad idea anyway. And the reason is that the higher the sugar content in the food, the greater the cancer risk. So you want to be cutting that back anyway. But does the sugar generate, let's say carbon dioxide because of fermentation? The answer is no. No. But she is swallowing it. You need to look at her and figure out why is she doing it. Is it the way she's eating? Could it be her dentures, lack thereof? Could it be she's worrying about where she is, what she's doing? She's worrying about something? Is she sleeping okay? But Gas-X is a good way to start with it and then see whether or not that takes care of it, because that's just as benign as it gets. You take one of those tablets or two of those tablets 3 or 4 times a day, and let's see if mom is a little more comfortable with her GI tract.
Okay, good call there, Jane. Appreciate you joining us here. If you want to call in just like Jane did, you can. 844-220-0965. We got all open lines. You got an express lane right to Doc right now. 844-220-0965. Be the first call, and we'll get you on air as soon as we get through the news break. 844-220-0965. Reminder, you can always go to stagesoflifevitamins.com. Check out some of the stuff Doc has been talking about here on the show, some of the vitamins he talks about. And of course, you can download the 24/7 Stages of Life radio app there. That's right. You can listen to Doc 24/7. We both know that's exactly what you need in your life. And again, our number here, if you want to talk to Doc right now, 844-220-0965. You're listening to Stages of Life on News 96.5 WDBO.
All right, Doc, we got a question here.
Cool.
Linda checked in. She says she's 9-week postpartum with an umbilical hernia.
All right.
Her husband and she plan to have more children, so she's delaying surgery to fix that.
Good move.
My OBGYN said I had no exercise restrictions and I needed to do core exercises to strengthen my stomach muscles again. Should I work out with no restrictions? Are there exercises that are better for this type of hernia? And finally, if I wanted the hernia further evaluated, who would I see?
All right, let's start off with, is it a good idea or a bad idea to get the surgery? And the answer is, it's not a particularly good idea for a couple reasons. An umbilical hernia is a fairly common sequelum, to being pregnant, just the way that it works. The rectus abdominis muscle, that's that strap muscle in the front, tends to separate. It'll a little bit of distance will occur in your stomach. It makes room for the uterus. It's just the way these things go. So over time, these hernias usually go away on their own. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you're going to have a second kid or third kid, why would you go ahead and have a hernia and try to be recovered from that as you're becoming pregnant, stretching and tearing? And it'd be most uncomfortable. Who would you have fix it? A general surgeon. That's like their garden. That's their garden variety surgery is ventral hernia repair, umbilical hernia repair, femoral or inguinal hernia. But that's not really the question you want to ask. The question you want to ask is there something else you should do other than doing exercises to strengthen the muscles? And the answer is yes. This is a $30 investment, that I'd like you to get. And it's called an umbilical binder. An umbilical binder is a stretchy piece of cloth, that has a pad in the front, usually removable. The better ones have them removable because some people need them for the ventral hernia, some need it for the umbilical. You need that little pad in the front. And then it's Velcro. It's about 8 inches wide, and you stretch this thing across, secure it downward, and then it'll hold you together. And if you can do that for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, the hernia should get better on its own. You do not need surgery. Now, how would I know about this or care about this? And the answer is because I have an umbilical hernia. I wear one of those things, and wouldn't you know it, the umbilical hernia is getting better after about 12 weeks. So if it'll work for me, it'll work for you. I'm a little older than you are, which means it's going to take a little bit longer. But the umbilical binder is what you want to do. And you can find these things on Amazon. I mean, honestly, what you want is one that has that pad on it. And just look through it. You'll figure this out very, very easily. You go on Google, ventral hernia binder, umbilical hernia binder, and then they pop up if you look for the images. And then you find the one that looks the most suitable, and away you go. And it's about $30. So they have them for as cheap as $12 or $13, but it gets back to value and price.
Indeed.
Get a good one for an extra $20.
Go for quality.
Go for quality. Yeah, and they do work. I bought 2 of them. Why? Because I leave one at work.
Right. Otherwise, Tess has a dragon into work every time.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
let's see. Sarah's checking in. She says, 85-year-old with gas. It's improving with less sugar in the diet. Could it be candida?
Yeah, it could be candida. So, but it could be any number of other things. Candida, that's supposed to be in your gut. But when you take lots and lots of sugar in your diet, it will tend to overgrow. But it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to ferment. It really takes a lot to do this. Anybody who's ever made beer knows how much it takes to make, carbon dioxide. It takes a lot. So most of the gas in there is swallowed. And when you're nervous and you're swallowing air, this is a problem. So the 85-year-old needs to be looked at to find out whether or not she needs a little something to help her rest at night. Because if she's not sleeping, that's the gift. And then you know what you got. You have a little bit of anxiety in an 85-year-old. What a shock. You see anxiety in 15-year-olds. Why not in the elderly? Oh, these people are dying of COVID, and then they're tearing down my statues, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to think that grandma's feeling a little bit put upon? I'd be swallowing air, too. It's just the way it goes. But, yeah, could it be candida? Yeah, but it's probably not. So what else we got up there, girlie?
Oh, let's see. We got a bunch of people that are watching.
Well, good. Okay.
Just watching.
Yeah, the voyeurs of the world out there. Yeah. So it's nice if you have any questions, now's a good time to do it.
Yeah, it sure is. On Facebook, thanks for checking in with us today. We appreciate you. We're here every Sunday at 3 o'clock, Stages of Life Medical Institute with Dr. Dave. Any of the medications or stuff or nutraceuticals that he mentions, you can find very easily on his website, stagesoflifevitamins.com. Drop-down menu is real easy to work.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it
You got
really
lots and lots of lectures, 15 minutes long each. You can learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Differentiation through education. It's all free. Go for it. I mean, what the heck? But these are bits and pieces, many of them, of broadcasts I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I paid to have these things parsed, put together, and stretched out. So you can go on each of the products, and if you cursor down, scroll down, and you look for something called audio files, there may be 2 or 3, there may be 15 or 20, but they talk to different disease states typically and how it might pertain to that product. But they're not sales pitches, so it's all educational. If you buy from us, great.
Here's
we
the
appreciate
thing.
it.
If you feel like you need to go to WebMD, scratch that. Go to Stages of Life.
There you go.
Vitamins and enjoy yourself there.
At least you'll have a real doctor answer it instead of a high school kid with a dictionary and an Encyclopedia Britannica, if they can still find them.
We're just finishing up with Joe Kelly here, and then we'll be back with the show. Here we go.
On News 96.5 WDBO.
Ask and you shall receive. The phone lines lit up during that break. We're going to jump to them in just a moment. You're listening to Stages of Life here on News 96.5 WDBO. That number to call in is 844-220-0965. Chris Crawford and Dr. David Klein hanging out with you on this Father's Day Sunday. And before we head to the phone line, Doc, real quick, I do just want to wish you a happy Father's Day. I did not open the show doing that, so I'm going to wish you a happy Father's Day right now.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you, and it's been a good Father's Day so far. I got to spend time with my granddaughter and my daughter, and it worked out well. Nobody was yelling, so it's perfect so far.
Not yet, at least, right? Yeah.
We have dinner to go through yet.
All right, perfect. Well, let's head to these phone lines here. We do have a bunch of callers on the line. We're going to start with Sally calling in from Orlando. Sally, welcome to the show. What's your question for Doc?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure, Sally.
Okay. Sometime in mid-April, I noticed a clicking in my thumb joint.
All right.
To the point where it was stiff. I looked it up, and I'm self-diagnosing. I'm calling it a triggered thumb.
Okay.
I got a thumb splint. And I was wondering if you have any other suggestions, because it really hurts.
Okay, sometimes a trigger thumb, not triggered, but a trigger thumb, or trigger finger for that matter, is an irregularity in the tendon, usually the flexor tendon of the digit. Okay, it could be the first finger, second, third, fourth finger, could be the thumb, could be any number of different digits or toes. And so if something damages the tendon, it'll tend to swell a little bit, and then it won't pass through a little slip of tissue, like a pulley at the joint. Those pulleys are there to keep the tendon from bowing, like a bow and arrow. It's got to be held close to the bone. So it can't pass through. You put a little more pressure, tension, then pop, it goes through. Okay? So, and it may hurt a little bit. It may be a little disturbing, but it doesn't do any damage necessarily. So how do you straighten it out? Okay, you can wear a thumb splint, you can wear a finger or wrist splint. Those are all well and good, but you'll lose mobility if you do. So typically what I do is I use topical anti-inflammatories. And what this does is it deals with the underlying inflammation that causes the irregularity in the tendon to begin with. So if it's in the thumb, you may well have gotten this from using a pair of scissors or shears, hammer, pair of pliers, because the MP joint of the thumb will rest right on the handle of these articles of mass destruction or mass construction, however you want to look at it. So you can use topical Voltaren, which is now available over the counter. It used to be expensive. I mean, when that stuff first came out, it was a few $100s a tube. Now you can get it for about $4 a tube at Costco. It's amazing stuff. It used to be prescription. I use Kinkies. Kinkies is what seems to help with me because I'm using it for other things, and it keeps it from coming back. I have decorvain's tenosynovitis, which is actually at the wrist. It goes from the thumb to the index finger, and it was from doing too many injections during the Gulf War, believe it or not. So the Kinkies has kept me going since 1991. It's good stuff for that. You can use more expensive products as well. Oral anti-inflammatories have their limitations. You can take them, but you shouldn't take them for very long because they have kidney issues. Yes, there's some drag to that. So before you do anything really goofy, Sally, go get yourself some Voltaren gel. Okay, Costco is the best place to get it, I've found. And you put it along the palmar aspect of the tendon because that's probably where the issue is. So it's in the palmar side. All right, and that's you do it 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, and it should start settling it down. Anti-inflammatories first. If you need to really put a splint on this, it's not going to help you in the long run. So Sally, give that a whack and see how it goes. Oh, and by the way, there's the temptation to go ahead and inject these things. So that's something that a lot of the docs will do. The orthopedic surgeons are famous for doing this. The problem with the injections is that they can actually cause damage to the tendon, and so it's and they don't feel good, actually, as it turns out. When you're putting a needle into the palm of the hand, it's a life-altering event. So
no, that sounds painful.
Oh yeah, it hurts. Okay, and I'm really good at those things, and so I tell people, look, I really don't want to do this. That's the fast way from here to there, but we're going to do this with Voltaren gel. So Sally, give that a whack first, and then get back with me and let me know if there's anything else you need.
Let's keep rolling right along. We're going to head to Melbourne and talk with Marianne. Marianne, welcome to the show. What you got for Doc?
Hi, my question is about folic acid.
Sure.
I've been taking it like forever.
Okay.
And I had some tests done at my doctor's office, and for which medications will work for me and which won't. And the strange things comes up that folic acid, I am not metabolizing it,
okay.
And I should consider alternatives. Now, I sure don't know.
Okay.
How would one find an alternative for folic acid?
Okay, Marianne, here's what they did. Okay, they went ahead and did a test for you, looking for something called MTHFR reductase. It's a gene. Okay, and they're going to tell you are homozygous for this particular gene, so you're not going to metabolize this, that, or the other. It is a bunch of hooey. Okay, absolute. If you were not metabolizing folic acid, you'd be dead. It's just that simple. Rarely you'll end up with somebody that has an issue with it, but I've only seen 1 in 42 years. But they test people for this routinely because they make a couple bucks doing it. So do you need to get methylfolic acid at $50 a month? And the answer is no. When you take adequate folic acid, it blows right past any of the metabolic bottlenecks. It just doesn't make any difference. So I've done this a long time, and what I do is I put people on the hyperfolate, which is 5 grams or 5,000 micrograms, same thing, of folic acid per month. And I check the folic acid levels. They're usually over 20, and people do really, really well. So, it's a bunch of nonsense. What medicines work and what don't. That's the cytochrome P450 portion of what they did. So do the doctors out there run these tests the way they used to? And the answer is no, because it doesn't fix anything. It's one of the biggest shams that's out there. It's an awful abuse of the system. They used to charge a couple $1,000 per test for these. And then there's actually there are 2 companies in Richmond that they had federal indictments over, okay, for kickbacks for getting the doctors to do this stuff. So what do I think, Marianne? I think you've been had. So that's just my opinion. All right.
I don't think that's the answer Marianne was looking for, but it's the one that she is going to get.
Yeah.
Let's continue right along. We're going to go to Jackie. I'm sorry, Marianne. That's unfortunate.
No, actually, it's
let's
perfectly
go to Jackie.
fortunate.
She's calling.
Yeah, there's no particular reason for her to pay $50 a month for the methylfolic acid. That's what they're trying to sell.
Right.
Her.
Yeah, and it is good that she's checking in on that. It's just, she might have thought that she had something there.
Yeah,
but better to know now than to have spent the money.
That's $600 a year we're going to keep in your pocket. That's the best news you could have. So, why do they do the test? To sell the methylfolic acid. That's the only reason anybody runs that test. So will I do it? Heck no. I think it's nonsense. In fact, I think it's I don't know. There's a crying shame. So hopefully Marianne
will go with that.
Yeah, and it's more than that.
Works in a crying shame passes FCC regulations.
Yeah,
that's our safe way of
you know what I would have said. So yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, that's why I say it passes FCC regulations.
Yeah.
Let's go to Leesburg. We're going to talk with Jackie now. Jackie, welcome to the show. What you got for Doc?
Thank you. My question is, my daughter was diagnosed with coronavirus in April, and she had about 6 weeks of feeling relatively bad. Mm-hmm. And then she started feeling good, and now she's having a reoccurrence. The symptoms are somewhat different. She's smelling cigarette smoke, aches and weaknesses in the swollen joints, frequent urination. She's on a website that a lot of other people are on that are having second rounds of this, whether it's being dormant and becoming active. I'm not sure if you have any answers to that. And the second part is the accuracy of the test, because there's so much controversy.
Okay, well let's go to the controversy of the test first. And the reason I say this is because at Stages we have 5 different platforms that we test COVID. Okay, and they each have limitations. They each will tell you different pieces of information. So there's no controversy about that. The controversy is how do you test to find the disease? So your daughter, was told that she had coronavirus back in April. Okay, that disease will come and it will go, just like influenza. You get influenza, it comes, it goes, but you can end up with post-influenza type symptoms. The same thing is true with polio. You can end up with post-polio problems. You can end up with all manners of different post-viral symptoms. So she may not be having a re-exacerbation of the virus. She just may be developing one of these autoimmune disorders that can follow it. So what I would do if I were you is I would have her rechecked with what's something called a PCR, polymerase chain reaction. It's the gold standard for COVID. But the way I would do it, and this is going to be difficult for you to pull off, you go ahead and you do it, the little nasal swab. But what you really want to do is you want to get let's say a fecal swab. You want to see if you can pull it out of the GI tract. And the reason is that it takes a lot longer to clear the GI tract than it does to clear the respiratory. So if she is still passing the virus, you're going to see it in the poop. You're not going to see it in the respiratory tract. Now, the other thing you can do, and it may be helpful, would be to get an immunoglobulin or gamma globulin level, an IgG level on her to see how well she's doing with regards to the immune system. If her IgG did not go up, I'd be more concerned about an autoimmune disorder. So there are a bunch of other things that she needs to look at. So the likelihood of her getting it a second time is very, very small, but the fact is that she's still sick. So what you call it does have implications. Is she getting sick from corona again? No, she's still sick with it. She got it in April. Here it is in June. She's still fighting it. So more than likely, she is either having an autoimmune issue, very possibly, these vasculitis, all kinds of issues come from this. So, but what she's going to want to do is she's going to want to get a gamma globulin or immunoglobulin, IgG test. Okay, they call them serology tests, and we do 3 different ones. Okay, why? Because they're different values. Okay, so the one I would do for her would be called a quantitative IgG. There are half a dozen of these machines in the state right now. We have one of them. My other office up in Jacksonville has another one. So then you can see where you're going with it. You wait about 3 or 4 weeks, you recheck the IgG, and if it's going up, you'll know that she still has active infection. If it's going down, then she's getting better. So that's how you would do it. And is there controversy to that? No, you just have to have the available equipment. If you have the equipment, you can figure it out. It's like trying to diagnose a heart murmur without a stethoscope. I don't think you're going to do it. It's just not, you have to have the right equipment to do what you got to do. Can't cook without a kettle. So Jackie, there you go. Does that help you?
Yes. Is there anything she can do for her immune system now, or does she just need to?
Yeah, absolutely. There are 2 things I'd like her to do. One of which is to take something called lactoferrin-containing colostrum. It's $34 a month. This is cheap stuff. Go on stagesoflifevitamins.com. Okay, look at the top. There's a little magnifying glass, a search bar, and just put in colostrum. That's spelled colostrum. And you take 2 of them 3 or 4 times a day. And that should make her start feeling better probably within 3 or 4 hours. You add to that licorice root extract, which has glyceric acid in it. And you take that twice a day. And that should start making her feel better. We have about 8,000 patients I've put on this stuff since the beginning of the COVID crisis. We had not one patient come down with COVID that did this, and not one patient come down with influenza. It's kind of interesting.
All right, good stuff.
Give it a try. Good.
Appreciate you calling and listening, Jackie. 844-220-0965. We're going to hit you with the 3 big things you need to know, and then we're hitting the lightning round. You're listening to Stage of Life on News 96.5 WDBO.
Okay, Doc, we got a couple of interesting questions here today. We've got, let's see. Iggy says, just found out a friend has COVID. He's in California, got the symptoms.
All right.
Says this is the worst pain ever. Can't go to a hospital until his temperature goes over 103. Would colostrum help in any way?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly how it's done. Okay, again, if he's acutely ill, it's lactoferrin-containing colostrum. Take 2 of them 4 times a day. And he'll start feeling better very quickly with it. But licorice root extract, okay, got to be very, very careful with licorice root extract because it can elevate blood pressure. So, my favorite ones are capsules because you can actually adjust it more appropriately. Right now in the office, all we have is the liquid because wouldn't you know it, there's a run on the capsules. I blather on about this stuff, and then all of a sudden there's a national shortage.
Surprise.
It works every time. So go on stagesoflifevitamins.com, look for colostrum, and you're going to need 2 bottles a month.
You said you got it working at a restaurant.
Yeah, wouldn't you? It's the way it works.
Oh, yeah.
Cruise ships, okay, from the food. Nursing homes, from the food. Navy ships, from the food.
All along, we've been telling it's gastrointestinal roots.
It's a GI issue, and colostrum is how the animal kingdom. That's how cattle protect their calves from coronavirus.
Delay is also asking us. She wants to know if she can take magic minerals and berberine before she comes to your office.
Why not?
She's trying to lose 50 more pounds before she comes in.
That's not a bad thing. It's not going to hurt you regardless. Okay, the thing with berberine is it cuts your risk of cancer, lowers your triglycerides, lowers your glucose, and lowers your insulin. I mean, it's marvelous stuff. So why wouldn't you do it? Magic Minerals is helpful for the thyroid. It's also helpful for diabetes, pre-diabetics. So I would be using both of those things anyway. And if you start them before you come in, that just gives you a head start.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Go for it.
Anything else, guys? Anything else?
You got me.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people listening. I guess they're just all learning.
Cool. All right, take notes.
Cool people.
Yes, we have a couple questions coming up live on the radio. Okay, one of which is going to be a medication replacement question. I'm not sure exactly what that means. And then somebody is asking about Atlantic salmon. Is it okay to eat for health? And the answer is, well, yeah, there are reasons why you need to be careful with Atlantic salmon. And you eat it exactly for that. You eat it for health. The question is, how often do you want to eat it? And why do you want to limit what you eat? Okay, and so that'll be coming up shortly. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, which, by the way, is another interesting metaphor.
Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it?
No, I
know.
Well,
actually, because if you didn't let them out of the bag, what do they do with them? They drown them.
Yeah, or they kill each other, or they throw it at you. And then they let the cat out of the bag like that. Bad.
Even better, yeah. Get a face full of cat. Mm-hmm. That's it sounds worse than it is.
It's a really weird metaphor you went for there, too, yes. Oh, gosh. So, thanks again for joining us all. This is Melissa, just producing it here at the home base. And, of course, every Sunday, 3 o'clock, whether we want to or not, on 96.5 and also Facebook now. So, glad that the text is helping out.
And what are we going to talk about this Thursday? Now, we're going to be doing a connection show on Thursday evening for broadcast the following Thursday.
Yes.
So, and what's our topic?
I believe you told me that we want to talk about a year from now.
What are we going to be seeing a year from now? All right. How are things going to be changed? Now, we may or may not be talking about whether or not police officers exist or whether Antifa is still around or whether those people are doing federal time under the mountain in Colorado. We're going to be talking about how is medicine going to change? How will medical care delivery change? And what does this do for you? What are the sorts of things we're going to do so that we don't end up with another lockdown? Nobody likes to be locked down. I mean, it's been crazy. Increase in domestic violence, alcoholism, all kinds of bad problems from people not getting out and doing what they like to do, which, by the way, is get out and live, get out and work, get out and do it. Just chasing people is fun. Okay, going out to the bars. That's the first thing people do, and then they end up all getting sick. You gotta love it.
WDB, reminded the Stages of Life Medical Institute is located at 1917 Booth Circle, and if you like what you heard today and you want to make an appointment with Doc, go ahead and give the office a call at 407-679-3337. Again, 407-679-3337. Reminder, you can also check out his stagesoflifevitamins.com shop. You can go and hear about and buy some of the vitamins that he's mentioned already on the show. And if you heard him mention something and you missed it, well, there are a bunch of audio files for each specific different vitamin that you can go and listen to right there. And of course, you can also download the 24/7 Stages of Life radio app. Oh yeah, Doc with you all the time, whenever you want it. In the meantime, we're going to head to our phone lines here. We've got Ron calling in from Montverde. Ron, welcome onto the show. What is your question for Dr. David Klein?
Good afternoon, Doc. Happy Father's Day.
Likewise. How's it going? How is it going?
Hey, I'm on the Relto and Multac, and calling to see is it anything that can replace those medications. I've been arguing with my doctor, my cardiologist, and my primary care doctor for 2 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
That stuff's too expensive,
No
man.
kidding,
I
it's
don't have no
expensive.
money.
Well, I hear you. So, what do you have? Atrial fibrillation? Is that what the issue is, or what's going on with you?
Yeah, the atrial fibrillation came about 2 years ago, and I haven't took the Mubtac in about 3 months.
Okay.
Because I can't afford it.
It's a lot of money.
And the Xarelto, I quit taking it, and they put me on some called warfarin, and then they didn't tore up all my fingers trying to check me every week.
Yep, that's the reason why they use the Xarelto. It's got Coumadin, okay, or warfarin, which stands for Wisconsin Medical Alumni. It's kind of an interesting bunch. That's what you need to do to keep yourself from having a stroke. Okay, and so you're going to need the Coumadin, okay, until you can fix the atrial fibrillation. Now, Ron, let me ask you a question. Are you taking any statins, something to lower your cholesterol?
Yeah, I was taking that pravastatin a long time ago, but you told me, you didn't tell me, I heard on your radio show to take folic acid.
Yeah, you take lots of
folic acid.
Lots and lots of folic acid, but there's something else that you forgot to do. And that was to take something called coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. CoQ10, the dosage there is 300 milligrams a day. Just you find the hundreds and take 3 of them, or if you find a 300 milligram capsule, take 1 of them. But you can actually fix a certain number of atrial fibrillation patients just by replacing their CoQ10. So folic acid's important, but the CoQ10 is what you need for the atrial fibrillation. And the statins actually cause a CoQ10 deficiency. They will cause a B12 deficiency and a magnesium deficiency. So that's probably where your issue is. So the best thing and the easiest way to get around the Xarelto issue, okay, the easiest way to do it is to fix the atrial fibrillation. And so, how often does that happen? Maybe between 30 and 50% of the time. People come in with this stuff. We start them on the CoQ10, and then they come out of AFib. Now, they say, well, how long do I need to be on this? And the answer to that is, what do you look like? What's wrong with you? Okay, take the damn CoQ10 and keep this stuff from coming back. So if you do a little research on coenzyme Q10, it's a primary treatment for atrial fibrillation in Europe. It's been that way for many decades. So CoQ10, it is cheaper now than it has ever been, Ron. But 300 milligrams would be the starting dose. If you can get by with 300 and the AFib gets better, that's where you stay. If 300 doesn't do the job, bump it up to 400 or 500 milligrams and see if that does the job. If it doesn't do it at that level, it's not going to. But it's worth giving that a try. Until then, get your fingers poked, my friend, because it beats the heck out of the $700 for the Multac and the $300 or $400 for the Xarelto. And that's if you're getting on a program. So, Ron, you have a good one.
There you go, Ron.
Let us know.
Yes, please. Yeah, we love it when people call back and let us know how it goes.
Yes,
let's close things out, Doc. We got about 2 minutes left, maybe a little less. Let's go to Carol in Winter Park. Real quick, Carol, we got about a minute. What do you got?
Yes, Doctor. I love your show.
Oh, thank you.
I love Publix Atlantic salmon marinated in bourbon. Do you think that's a safe salmon to eat?
Yeah, and sometimes if you put a little bit of like crusted honey on it, it's even better. Okay, that's one of my favorites. The story with fish, okay, especially larger fish, is that the bigger they are, the more mercury and lead they'll accumulate. So yeah, it's fine to do it. You just don't want to eat that more than once a week. So is it a good choice? It's excellent. Okay, and my wife Tess makes a beautiful, beautiful salmon steak, and some of she uses something. It's hoisin sauce. She'll take the steaks, the salmon steaks, and coat it with hoisin sauce, and it is some seriously good. So Carol, eat away, but just no more than once a week.
And there you have it. Doc, go ahead and give out contact information, everything. We got about 30 seconds.
Okay, we can be reached at 407-679-3337, and we're located conveniently in Longwood, Florida, a piano's throw off of I-4 at 434. You can reach us at suffernomore.com and stagesoflifevitamins.com, and we are only too happy if you just drop in and say hey. So please come by and visit Monday through Thursday. This is Dr. David Klein from Stages of Life.
This is News 96.5.
Hey guys.
guys. Thanks for joining us. All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We appreciate you. I hope you heard him. He said he'll be back at 7 o'clock. Thursday night right here, okay? We'll be broadcasting it live on Facebook and then following Thursday, 9 o'clock on iHeartRadio. All right, thanks for listening.